King Charles's shoemakers, Crockett Jones, have published a guide on how to care for your leather shoes. So today I'm going to show you how you too can have shoes fit for a king. Now, I don't have any Crockett Jones shoes. These are my Loke 1880s, but in a similar way to Crockett Jones, they have a calf leather upper, they have a Goodyear welted full leather sole. So they're very similar in terms of their construction. Now, King Charles is interesting because even though he has enough wealth to be able to replace his clothes and his shoes as often as he likes, he's notoriously frugal when it comes to his wardrobe, often keeping his suits, his shoes and his clothes for years, if not decades, patching them, repairing them and resoling them when it comes to his shoes. Even though he could afford brand new shoes whenever he wants, he looks after them and he squeezes every last bit of life out of them. And how you look after them really matters. These days you can pay £400, £500, £600 for a handmade quality pair of leather shoes. If you look after them badly, you might only get a couple of years out of them before they start cracking and showing real signs of age. If you look after them properly, you'll get 10, 15 years out of them easily. And the thing I mentioned at the start is the Goodyear welt. The Goodyear welt is this row of stitching that can be seen around the top and also at the bottom. Some shoes will have a little flap where it's peeled back, stitched, and then stuck back down again so you don't see the stitching at the bottom. But if you buy shoes with a Goodyear welt, it means that the shoes can easily be resoled. So let's get started and see how we can all have shoes fit for a king. I say this every single time I do a pair of shoes, and that's because it's the most important thing. When you're looking after any decent shoes, the most important thing is to get a decent pair of shoe trees. And when do you put them in? You put them in as soon as you've taken them off, when they're still warm and damp from your feet. This way it sets the shape of the shoe as the shoe cools and dries, and it stops it from setting in that buckled shape. Laces out, because we don't want to get the polish on them, shoe trees in, and let's get started. Now, 2 brushes. Why do I have 2 brushes? This is a dirty one, this is a clean one. This one is for polishing and it never sees the dirt. This one is for cleaning off surface dirt and dust. The reason for this is if we clean the dirt off with the polishing brush and then we polish the shoes, we're just going to be polishing dirt straight back into the fresh shoe cream or wax. So keep them very separate. All we're doing is getting right into the welts, cleaning off any surface dirt, just giving them a once over. Same on this one. Then if you find spots of mud or dirt that don't come off easily with a brush, a damp microfiber cloth is ideal, and that just helps you remove stubborn bits of dirt. So dirt and dust free is step 1. Now, if you over wet them, or if they are wet to begin with, they need to be nice and dry before you go on to the polishing stage. So always allow your shoes to dry off. Please avoid the temptation to put your leather shoes on top of the radiator or next to the fire or under a heater of some sort, because that will literally ruin your shoes. It will dry them out too quickly and the leather will just crack. They need to dry out naturally, ideally with your shoe trees in, but if you don't have the shoe trees handy, then I'm going to use some tissue paper, but newspaper, if anyone still takes a newspaper is ideal. Scrunch it up and push it down into the toe and just leave them like that to dry naturally. The next weapon in our arsenal is Renovator. I would say this is the connoisseur's choice. You're going to be paying about £15 for a jar like that. It's very expensive, but it's probably the best on the market. You don't need very much of it. It's a very creamy consistency. Smells amazing, I have to say, if that's something that that would tip the scale for you, but you don't need very much at all. Now what this does is it restores moisture and suppleness to the leather, a bit like using moisturizer on your skin after you've had a shower or had a shave, and you literally just dab it all over. Crockett Jones will tell you to use a cloth. I'm a very tactile person. I love to use my hands, and I love the feedback that the leather gives you when you use your bare skin. You can see where you've got dry spots, you can see where you still need to put some more on. Like I say, it's a dab, it's a tiny dab on your fingertip. It's very, very small amounts. You don't slap it on in huge quantities. You just keep it nice and thin. Now, quite often, when I do a shoe polishing demonstration, I'll leave one to the side and show you sort of the before and after. In this case, I'm going to show you how you do 2 at the same time, because that's actually part of the process. We're leaving this one to dry, and we're going to do the second one. And the time it takes you to do the second one is about the time it takes the first one to dry. So it's great for timing the polish as well. Now the important thing is you don't want to overload your shoes with Renovator. You just do this as and when they are starting to show signs of what I would call dustiness. It's when the leather starts to look a bit dry. You don't do it every time because it is possible to overload leather with moisturizer. So once every couple of months should be enough. The next stage is a personal choice. It's either shoe cream or shoe polish, a wax polish. A shoe cream penetrates into the leather, whereas a wax just sits on the top, and this will actually condition it as you're polishing it. It doesn't give quite the same mirror shine as the wax polish, but it still gives a really nice natural looking shine. A dab of shoe cream, start with the toe, really thin layers. Why thin layers? Well, quite simply, thin layers are easier to build up. You build up as much as you need and no more. If you slather on really thick layers, then it's just more likely to overload the leather, and you can't really take it off once you've put it on. As you can see, I've just applied the shoe cream. I haven't tried to polish it at this stage. It's just been applied in a couple of thin coats. Again, we'll just do the same with this one. Now, if you were watching this video expecting me to get to a fine parade mirror shine, then I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed, because the Crockett Jones method doesn't take the shoes to a mirror shine. Mirror shine is very much a military or very formal look, and everyday shoes shouldn't have a mirror shine. And as I was saying before, the length of time it takes to apply the shoe cream to the second shoe gives the first shoe enough time to cool down and be ready for its polishing. Invest in some decent horsehair brushes with a really dense and soft bristle. That makes the job of polishing so much easier. Now, you're not going to press on too hard with this. It's just a glide over the surface of the shoe. And again, this one's had time to dry and be ready for its buff. Now, you'll want your shoes not only to be shiny, but look the same as each other. So it's a good idea at this stage to put them side by side, hold them up to the light, and check that the shine is the same across the front of both shoes. And then you can polish them both and even it up. Now the next step, and you notice I say the next step, not the final step, there's one more to go after this, is the polish. So the cloth I used for that was actually the back panel of an old shirt. The worst thing about new cotton is that you get those little bits of cotton threads that always get stuck in the polish. An old cotton shirt is ideal for that. And the final step, and this is optional, but if you find that your edges have been worn or scuffed, or particularly at the front on the toe, then edge dressing is the final step. Now, edge dressing is basically re-blacking or browning the edge, and I simply use the wax polish and just get a dab on my fingertip and run it all the way around and then give it a brush, and that's it. People don't notice a well-dressed edge, but you notice one that's been scuffed. It's often overlooked is the edge when you're polishing a pair of shoes, but it's that attention to detail that gets you extra points. So quick recap, we brushed them to get rid of all of the dirt. Where there were stubborn bits, we damped a microfiber cloth just to get rid of surface mud or stubborn dirt. We then went in with some Renovator to moisturize and soften the leather. When that was dried, I treated it with 2 thin layers of shoe cream all over, then buffed the shoes with a horsehair brush before giving them a polish with the back of an old shirt, and then finally edge dressing with some wax polish. And that, I'm pleased to say, is the result. And that's what's going to make the difference between a pair of shoes that lasts a couple of years and one that lasts 10 to 15. Now you can all have shoes fit for a king. But I'm genuinely interested to know how, if at all, this differs from the technique that you've always used, and if you're going to change any parts of it after what you've seen today. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Take care.